Hey guys, what's up? Nick here once again, and we're going to be doing another Vegas Pro 17 tutorial. Today we're going to be going over transitions, and more importantly, more professional transitions, or more advanced transitions, I should say. So we all know that Sony Vegas has a ton of really awesome features built into the program that are ready to go for pretty beginner or novice editors. However, there are many ways to utilize these tools to create better and more professional looking transitions and other effects down the line. With that being said, we're going to jump right into it. Let's open up Sony Vegas. It's going to give us a blank slate. I do want to go over my new project settings, so if you want to copy and paste these, this is what I normally use to upload to YouTube. You don't have to necessarily upload in 1440p. I also have a 1080p one, so I'd actually recommend going with these settings. So once you have those all selected and put in the right spot, we're going to go down right to OK, and that will be our new project media. The next thing we want to do is put in a video clip that we recorded. So obviously you probably already have some video that you recorded for this purpose. That's why you're on this video. For me, however, I'm just going to go up to import media and I'm going to choose a random video clip of something that I've already recorded in the past. So let's just do this one, which is just me playing Warzone with my friends. So once you double click that or you select it and hit OK, it'll automatically add to your timeline. So we're going to wait for that to load in. All right. Once it is loaded in, we're going to click and drag it down to the timeline down here, let go, and it'll automatically add the video track and the audio track. Now let's say we get to a point of the video where you're cutting and pasting, you're removing clips, and you want to have a transition. So not just a straight split between two clips. So for instance, if I cut this, and I cut this, and then I took out this chunk here by right-clicking and deleting, and I have this gap here, and I drag this one to then be right next to the first clip, instead of it just cutting like it's going to right here. So let's see. Oh, we're going to have to zoom in a little closer. Look at that. See, it's a little laggy because my computer is running a lot of stuff right now. But as you can see, it just cuts. Boom, right to that. So instead of having just a dry cut, you want to have a transition. So the first thing you're going to want to look at is, oh, I have a transitions tab right down here. Look at all these free transitions that Sony Vegas already graciously gives me that I can use. And yes, you can use any one of these. And honestly, for the most part, most of these transitions will work just fine for your video, whether it's a school project or if you're more of a professional editor or you're an aspiring YouTuber. That being said, I'd recommend probably staying away from most of these. And the main reason for that is just because most of the time, if you have too many transitions in a video, it becomes to feel very tacky or just not very good, if that makes sense. It just doesn't look good, okay? Having one or two transitions throughout a video looks great, it looks very fluid, and for the most part, it shows that you're actually giving a crap about your video and what it's going to look like in the end. That being said, though, again, we don't want to have too many transitions. So let's just say if you had this entire video and you only had one transition in it, by all means, you can use any one of these. Just for instance, if you wanted to add, let's say this cool nebulous gradient wipe. So we're going to click on that. We're going to drag it down right in between the two clips. The nice thing about Sony Vegas, I'm going to remove this window that popped up right now just to get it out of the way. So we're going to move it right up here. But the nice thing about Sony Vegas is that automatically will add the transition between the two clips. You don't have to actually drag this clip and put it over the other one. It automatically do it for you. Now, let's say you do want to make this a faster transition or a slower transition. So by default, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to use the arrow keys and go frame by frame. So you can see it's starting to kind of rip and tear. There we go. So it's pretty, I don't think it's that fast, but it's smooth enough. But if we go through and play, it's a little bit on the slow side. So if you wanted to speed it up, all you gotta do is drag in both the sides. So we click and drag it in, click and drag it in. And now if we go frame by frame here, it's gonna be a little bit faster. As you can see, it looks a little smoother, a little better. So yeah, that's really how to do a regular transition. They do obviously give you this window that pops up, which I kind of moved to the side here. It gives you a little bit more options to mess around with if you really want to mess around with that one transition, which is very cool. That being said, that's not necessarily what we're going to go over today. So we're going to delete this. If you want to get rid of a transition, just click on this little green box and go up here to the FX with the X, and it'll delete it essentially. And then to get rid of this crossfade effect, you're just going to drag in both sides again, back to where they were. And there you go. Now you have two separate clips again. So you're probably asking, well, how do you do a more professional transition? Now, first thing you want to do is you want to figure out how long the transition is going to be. So how do you do that? Main thing you're going to do is just play. So from right here, we're going to start right here. We hit play. And that's pretty fast. So we obviously want to make it longer than that. So we're going to go a little bit farther out this time. We'll start right here. And that seems like a pretty good starting spot. Let's go right here, right at the 440 mark right here. We're going to clip it. And then we're going to go to that spot where the cut is. And we're going to try to match exactly the same amount of distance from here, but going this way. So going like this way. So we're roughly, I don't know, a second, it looks like. Full second. So we'll go about a full second out. So roughly there. And we're going to cut it. So it looks pretty much, maybe a little farther out. So if you ever screw up, you can always just go up to edit, undo. Go a little bit farther out. Maybe like right there. That looks pretty even. And one way to test this too is you can right click down here, insert video track. We're going to drag this one up above here and make sure it's the same length. It's a little bit longer actually. So what I'm going to do is undo, undo. So we're right there. We're going to go back one notch and then we'll split it. And then we're going to re-add that video track, bring it back up. Look at that. Pretty much the exact same length. Perfect. So the next thing we want to do is go to the event pan/crop window on the first part of the clip, or where it's going to be the transition. So we're going to select this little event pan/crop. It should pop up with this window. You can resize it to any way you like. So as you can see, we got this giant F here where you can move around. As you can see, it's already moving around on the screen here, right? We're going to restore that by right-clicking and hitting restore. You can do that if you ever mess up. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the very first keyframe here, and we're going to leave it as is, or make sure that it is as restored, right? And then we're going to go all the way to the end of the clip where it basically cuts to the next part, right? And from here, we're going to zoom in a little bit. So maybe like there. That should be good. And then you can do this two ways. I like to just right click and copy the keyframe. Other people like to save this as their own custom keyframe. We'll just call it like zoom. And then you can hit the little save preset. And then we're going to X out of here. And now we're going to go to the second clip here, so where the cut happens. We're going to go again to event pan/crop. But now the very first frame is going to be the exact same as the one we just made for the last frame of the last clip. So what I mean by that is you can either do it the way I do it, which is just right click so click on the first frame, right click it, hit paste. And as you can see, it turns into the exact same one. The other way to do that, I'm going to undo that. The other way to do it is just to click it again, select it, and then go right up here to the arrow, and you'll see your preset zoom. Does the exact same thing. So keep that in mind. There's different ways to do these. I don't know. That's just my thing. I right click and use the mouse a lot more than I use my keyboard, but it's totally up to you. That being said, now we're going to go to the end of this clip and we're going to right click and hit restore. And then you can see it added a keyframe at the end. And then here's kind of like a look at what you see. Now here is what that transition will look like in real time. So here we go. So as you can see, it's actually really slow. So we want to make that a little bit faster. So how do you do that? The easiest way to do that is to go back in the very first clip here, go back in the event pan/crop window. And then once it opens up, we're going to take this first keyframe. We're going to right click and hit copy. We're going to come maybe halfway. We're going to cut this in half because we're going to make it a lot shorter. So maybe halfway through, right? And we're going to right click and paste. The reason for that is now you can see from the beginning to here, there's no difference. But as soon as it hits this keyframe, it's going to start zooming in. Boom. We're going to do the exact same thing, but basically the opposite on the second clip. So we can X out of there. And then for the second clip, we're going to go into the event pan/crop as well. And we're going to click on the ending one that shows the restore. We're just going to drag it in halfway. So it's just going to go a little bit faster. So let's see what that looks like now. A little bit better. We can actually do even more of an exaggerated zoom to make this look even better. So again, we're going to go back to the first clip, event pan/crop. And instead of it zooming into there, let's zoom in to there. And then we're going to right click copy. Again, you could make a new preset and save it. I'm not going to do that. And then we're going to go to the second clip, event pan/crop. We're going to go to the very first keyframe, right click, paste. There you go. Same thing. All right, so now let's see what that looks like.
I don't like.
Much, much better. Now, again, depending on how you like it, you can have the transitions slower, again, by just dragging these out. Or you can have them quicker by making them closer together. So if I wanted to make this even faster, again, we're just going to bring this middle keyframe we made now, just drag it in a little bit farther to the right. So then, as you can see, it's going to be normal, and then boom, it's going to quickly zoom in right at the end. Same thing on the second one, we're going to event pan/crop, but instead of having it more to the right, we're going to drag the second keyframe more to the left. So it'll look like that. So, boop, that quick, it's going to come back to normal. So let's see what that looks like now.
I don't like.
That's pretty good. That's a little bit too fast for my liking, but it looks pretty good.
I don't like.
That's a decent transition. And that's a more of an advanced, like, boom transition, right? And to make these transitions a little bit more professional, I like to add sound effects as well. I will have a link in the description to the video I found all of my sound effects from on YouTube, and then I just used a convert YouTube to MP3 converter, which is just on Google. I'll have a link in the description below, but I'm going to import that video clip right now. So here it is, swish, swoosh, cutscene sound effects. Going to import that. And then once that's imported, I'm going to go down here, right click, insert audio track, drag it down. And as you can see, there's a ton of different ones that are in here. So I'm going to mute the video so I don't have to hear it right now. And then I'm going to be able to listen to these real quick, just to get a good feel of what this will look like, right? So go right to where your transition is going to start. So I like to use, again, the arrow keys on the keyboard to go frame by frame. So it looks like it starts right there. So that's where you want it to start. So I like to go through each one of these to see which one looks the best, right? Or sounds the best, I should say. So that's not bad, but we'll go to the next one. It's a little bit too quick. Yeah. It's like a pop sound. I forgot what some of these are, so I do apologize. That one's pretty good. I like that one. That one was good. I'm going to cut off the beginning ones here. So we'll keep that. Too quick. Whoa, way too high-pitched. That's a little bit too extreme. I really like this first one. This one I think is probably the best one. Oh, obviously in the wrong spot, but there you go. So adding sound adds another dimension to a transition. So you never want to let that go. Obviously, you can have transitions without sound and you'll be just fine, but really it adds a second dimension to your effect. So here we go, one last time.
I don't like.
Boom, just like that. And you can, obviously, you want to edit the sound so it's not overpowering. It's a little bit loud, so I'm going to turn down the gain by just clicking on the top of the sound clip here. We're just drag it about halfway.
I don't like.
That's pretty good. That is probably perfect, honestly. So that is the first type of transition. We're going to do one more for this video because I don't want this video to be an hour long. This one is a little bit more advanced, but honestly, I think it's more worth it. It looks a little bit better than that first transition, but it gets the job done, and I think you guys are going to like this one. So, again, we're going to find another part in the video that we're going to make a clip or a split for. So we're just going to cut it here, and let's go here. Perfect. We're going to delete the rest in the middle, drag this to the other clip, and then as you can see, there is now a split once again. Boom, right there. You're supposed to do another one. So instead of having it just do that, we want to have a transition. So this one starts a lot like the other one, where we're going to find basically how long you want this transition to be. I recommend making this one a little bit shorter. You wouldn't want this one to drag out too long. So we're going to maybe do maybe a half a second. So we're going to start from where the split happens, and we're going to go backwards. So I'm going to go right about like right there. Split it. And then same thing, start where the split is and go forwards in about half a second. I think that looks about right. If it's in, to check again, just drag it up to the second video track. If you don't have one, again, to add a video track, just scroll down, right click, insert video track if you need it. And we're just going to bring it over. And that's perfect. We did that perfect first try. All right. Now that we have those split made, or the 2 clips made, next thing we're going to do is go to the front clip, or the one that happens first. We're going to drag that up to the second video track, and we're going to take the second clip and drag it underneath. Same thing with take this entire end of the video and drag that too, so it connects. So there's no gap in between. This essentially entire area is going to be your transition. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the bottom track here. We're going to use the event pan/crop, and we are going to click on the first interval here, and we're going to move this giant F here all the way to the right, and make sure there's a little bit of video still hanging off, and we're going to scroll all the way to the end, then we're going to right click, restore. So it's going to look like this. And as you can see, this is not changing. I'm trying to look here. That it looks like it's zooming in. The reason, obviously, this isn't changing is because this is underneath this clip. So what are we going to do? We're going to edit the top clip now. So once you got that done, we're going to exit out of that event pan/crop window, and we're going to the same one up here. Once this opens up, this time it's going to be a little bit opposite. We're going to start with it normal, and we're going to go all the way to the end. But this time we're going to move it all the way to the left and leave a little bit of video left hanging over again. And this is what essentially it's going to look like now once you get it done. So we're going to scrub, and it essentially is pushing the other scene out of the way. Just like that. Now, how to make this look even better, right? So next thing we want to do is go to our video effects. And there's a couple ways you can do this. I'm just going to go over one of the ways that I normally do it, which is with Gaussian blur. I think there's other blurs you could choose from here, but we're just going to go with Gaussian blur. We're going to do medium blur, and I'm going to drag it to the top clip first. As you can see, it's already taking its effect. And you can edit this to look as blurry or non-blurry as possible. Totally up to you. I'm going to go maybe about... Actually, you know what? We're going to animate this to make it a little bit better. So, first thing we're going to do is drag this out so I can see everything here. Perfect. And what we're going to do is make sure both these are set to 0. And then we're going to go to the vertical range, because this is... Actually, you know what? No, it'll look better with the horizontal. So we'll do the horizontal. So we're not even going to mess with vertical range. On the horizontal, make sure it's 0. We're going to click on the little animate button, which is a little clock. Click on that. Go to the very front. Again, make sure it's on 0. And then we're going to go all the way to the end and make sure it's at 2. Doesn't have to be... Definitely do not do full or whatever. Just make sure it's... Yeah, that looks pretty good. So roughly around like 2, 1.9, whatever. As long as it's transitioning into it. And as you can see, the reason we animate it is because you don't want it to be instantaneously blurry. It just won't look that good. So animating it makes it blur as it's moving, as motion. We're going to do the exact same with the bottom layer. So we're going to drag in medium blur to the bottom one. Again, 0, 0. So this one's going to be opposite. So this one we're going to start out with almost 2. So pretty much same, 1973, whatever works. Go to the very end and bring it to 0. So it's opposite, right? So if we do keep frame by frame with the keyboard, look at that. Looks pretty smooth, doesn't it? So let's take a listen here or a watch and see what it looks like. Boom. And it could even be a little faster. That's what I mean with this effect, with this transition. You want it to be as quick as possible to really hide the fact that you're pushing the other frame out of the way. So if you wanted it to be even faster, what we could do is we could go into the event pan/crop on both of these again, and we're going to move these in a little bit. So I'm going to move, click on the very end, the last one here. I'm going to move it in. Let's just cut it in half. Let's just make it way faster, right? So just cut in half. Boom. Just like that. So in order for this to work properly, we're going to have to move this in, and then we're going to have to move this all the way off. So there's no video showing at all. So look just like that. So second clip on the bottom, we're going to go back into the event pan/crop, and we're going to click on the very first variable. And now this one, we're also going to drag it all the way off. And this one, we're going to drag in halfway to make it faster. So there you go. Now the last part of it is the effect. So we got to make the effect faster. So we're going to go back into the event effects on the top clip. And this is the one that starts out non-blurry and then gets blurry. And we're going to go right about right where the transition ends. So right there. And we're going to drag this keyframe in. There we go. And then right as it ends, so we're going to drag that one more in. Right as it ends, that's when we're going to make it non-blurry. So as you can see, it goes whoop, whoop. And then on the bottom one, we're going to go to the effects as well. Click on the front keyframe because this is the one that's getting less blurry. And we're going to go right where the transition again ends. So right there, drag this one in. And there we go. Perfect. Now it should be a little faster. So let's see. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. It might even be a little bit too fast, to be honest with you. But that's essentially the like swoosh effect, or I guess I don't know really what transition you'd call this, but it swipes across the screen and it gives you a nice, again, more professional look to it. It's something that you can't find in this video, in these Vegas transitions that they automatically give you. So just two pretty simple transitions. Again, don't forget about sound clips. Make sure you have a sound effect with it. I guess we can reuse this one. So I'm just going to copy it. Going to go to where that was, just so we can get a listen for what this sounds like. So it starts right there. I guess that might be good. Perfect. There you go. That's exactly what it'll look like. So I hope that helped in some way, shape, or form. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll definitely get back to you as fast as I can. If there's any transitions that I may have missed, or maybe there's something else you'd like to know in the future, I can definitely make a part 2 of this video for the future. Just let me know. But with that said, please leave a like, share, support, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace out.